What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on in grad school, I give it to you for free here on Financipation. Before I get started, I also want to give a shout out to Killer Solutions and one of my sponsors. If you need digital marketing, website development, or someone to essentially edit your YouTube videos, they're the best in the business of meeting all of your financial needs, okay? So I recently received a question, everybody, that I want to kind of read to you all because I think it deals with the topic that I've kind of somewhat jumped around a little bit. If people follow my content, I've never directly took on, and here it goes. Hello, Chris. My name is Tanisha. I'm a 26-year-old mechanical engineer who lives in the Midwest. Lately, I've been experiencing a lot of what I consider to be corporate racism from my bosses who do not look like me. You seem to be very in tune with your career as far as where you are, and you seem to be very successful in regards to what you're doing. How did you deal with racism in corporate America, and what advice would you give me? Wow. All right. Yeah, I can honestly say this, everybody. If you look like I do, or you are female and or you refer to a different God, yeah, this is kind of something that I have seen in various different forms in my career in regards to seeing swastikas written on some of the things that I've owned, driving by amongst Confederate flags, people saying, me actually seeing nooses on some of the places that I've worked, and other things being called the N-word by my boss. So this is actually an interesting concept that I have dealt with throughout the entirety of my career, both as a mechanical engineer, as a finance guy, and as an entrepreneur. So with that, let's get started, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you just different things that have worked for me in regards to dealing with racism in corporate America, and most importantly, how to essentially ascend the corporate ladder when you don't look like everyone else, when you are part of the only. So let's get started. The first way, everybody, to defeat racism in corporate America and to ascend the corporate ladder is to study on your own and always be over prepared. This one should really come to you as no surprise, everybody. I always tell minorities and individuals who know they're going to deal with the isms of corporate America, whether it's sexism, racism, culturalism, colorism, or whatever, is to be over prepared for every meeting and every presentation that you have to be in. So if your boss, everybody, gets to work at 7 a.m., you should be there at 6:30 a.m. If you believe you're going to be called on in a meeting, you should literally be so prepared for that meeting that you can do it in your sleep. And never give a people or a group of individuals who don't like you a reason to look down on your sex, on your religion, or your race, a justifiable reason to discriminate against you because you were unprepared for a meeting. So you should also have a reputation of being on time, being overly prepared, and being extremely reliable in everything that you do and every task that you are given. The next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to build a diverse network outside of work that strengthens you. One of the steps that I literally hammer into every junior or younger Black, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, or minority or female professional that I have the pleasure of working with. You have to develop meaningful and powerful cultural allies that hopefully look like you or have the same kind of cultural reference that you have outside of corporate America. You always want to associate with other groups, but in my opinion, it is never a good idea to assimilate into other groups. So what I mean by assimilation is this: you become so fully ingrained to that other group that you can completely forget who you actually are. And you do not want to run the risk of being assimilated by the majority of culture that exists inside of most offices and C-suites in America. Because at the end of the day, everybody, you got to where you are right now by literally being you. So why would you stop being you to be something that you're not? As a mechanical engineer, a construction superintendent, and a finance guy, 95% of the offices that I've had the pleasure of working in did not look like me. And as a result, I made sure I stayed heavily involved in organizations like the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, the National Society of Black Engineers, and the Black MBAs. Doing this allowed me to maintain my cultural identity, but more importantly, it introduced me to future mentors, friends, and even partners that made life that much easier for me to get through the isms that I always had to experience in corporate America. It also gave me employment options because these networks outside the office typically worked for engineering, construction, or finance companies that were always looking to hire new talent. The next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to build a diverse network outside of work that strengthens you. Next, the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to never stop learning. This is another one that should really come as no surprise to everybody, because at the end of the day, things that don't learn, they get fired or they die. It's as simple as that. And you need to be so good at your job and at your career that they cannot ignore you. This is another message, once again, everyone, that should come as literally no surprise. Always be willing to take another course. Always be willing to get another certification. Always be willing to get another degree or learn another trade. I have literally been the only black inspector, the only black superintendent, and the only black mechanical engineer at pretty much every office I've ever worked in. And while I can say it honestly does get tiring at times, what I've learned is that you have to be so good at what you do and so good at your job. You have to be so prepared in the meetings, and you have to be so invaluable at your skill set and at your craft, that even the people that hate you, for whatever reason they hate you, cannot ignore the fact that, yo, Chris is good at his job. And a good way to do that, everybody, is to literally never be satisfied and to never stop learning. So I would advise all of you, once again, to read books, to get additional certifications, and to do everything you possibly can to master your craft. I would also advise you, if you want to go a little deeper, read the book Black Faces in White Places, and or read the book Black Faces in High Places. That was written by Dr. Randall Pinkett. And the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to never stop learning and to master your craft. Before I go any further, please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop new content, as I thoroughly enjoy giving you an MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. Next, the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to document every racial incident, save email chains, take photos, and have a document prepared so that you can show a lawyer in the event that things go south. If you're experiencing any form of racism, sexism, classism, misogyny, or any type of the stupid isms that unfortunately do kind of some of exist in corporate America, people, you need to be documenting, keeping a written tab of all of it. You need to present it to a lawyer in the event you are wrongfully terminated. Case in point, in March 2024, Tesla, yeah, that Tesla, was ordered to pay $3.2 million to a California man named Owen Diaz. In 2015, Mr. Diaz, who is black, brought racial allegations against the car giant Tesla that were conveniently being ignored by his upper management bosses. Mr. Diaz, however, kept very good documented instances of the racial issues he was experiencing, and as a result, Tesla was forced to pay millions of dollars to him 9 years later. According to his attorney, Lawrence Oregon, Mr. Diaz clearly documented instances of racial discrimination that violated his civil rights as an American citizen, and both parties, Tesla and Mr. Diaz, reached an amicable resolution. That resolution, everyone, was to the tune of $3.2 million because he documented everything. The next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to document every racist or sexist email, every racist or sexist text message, take photos and videos, and have everything documented so that you can present it to a lawyer in the event that you need to. Next, the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and to ascend the corporate ladder is to work harder than everyone else around you. Once again, this is something that I don't think I really need to say, but I'm going to say it. You should be working harder, everybody, than almost everyone that you work with if you are in an environment where you feel racial or gender discrimination. Similar to a point I made earlier in this podcast, you cannot give people that don't like you a legitimate reason to discriminate against you. And if you are lazy or you're showing up to work late, you are giving them a legitimate reason to trash you and to dislike you in your performance reviews. More importantly, in most industries, people that work the hardest typically learn the most and they get paid the most. So if you are working for a company that doesn't appreciate your work ethic, perfect, because you will quickly be able to take a more lucrative job offer to work somewhere else because you spent the last couple of years learning and working harder than everyone else that's there. In other words, people, you don't work harder than everyone else because you're trying to please people that may or may not ever like you. You work harder than everyone else because it puts you in a position to make more money and to flat out be better than your competitors when you decide to leave. The next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to simply work harder than everyone else. Next, the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend the corporate ladder is to work smarter than everyone else. This one lines up perfectly with the point I just got done making. I come from a mechanical engineering and a finance background, and in my career, I was always looking for ways to do things faster, quicker, smarter, better, and more efficiently. So not only was I trying to work harder than you, I was also figuring out ways I could work smarter than you. For example, if everyone got to work at 7 a.m., I got to work at 6 a.m. because from 6 a.m. to 6:59 a.m., no one was there to bother me, and I could do literally 3 hours worth of work in 59 minutes worth of time. Whereas when everyone showed up at 7 a.m., people wanted to gossip and talk about who was sleeping with who. They wanted to gossip and talk about who won the football game, who won the basketball game, or just shoot the breeze. Secondly, I created systems about what I did. So let's say it took me 4 hours to do a complicated task the first time. I figured out ways to do that same complicated task the next day in 3 hours. And then next week, I'll figure out how to do it in 2 hours, and then in 1 hour, and so forth. I once worked for an engineering firm where I got so good at this, everybody, that forensic reports that would take my other engineers, the other mechanical and civil engineers that I work with, 50 hours to complete. I could produce a better report in 4 hours. So I was taking my coworkers 50 hours to do a report. I got so efficient and so good at it, I could do the same report with better quality in 4 hours. I would then spend the next 46 hours taking certifications, studying disciplines that work my job description, and making myself more valuable for the next promotion. And then when my performance reviews would come up at this particular engineering firm, when they decided they didn't want to give me a pay raise, I got a $40,000 pay raise to go work for one of the main competitors on the other side of the city. And I gave my current company at the time my 2 weeks resignation. Still to this day, everybody, I'm amazed when I meet people that don't create systems or programs, once again, to make their repetitive tasks at work faster and more efficient. So in addition to working harder in corporate America, the next way to defeat racism when you work in a 9-to-5 job in the office and just ascend that corporate ladder is to work smarter than everyone else. And lastly, the next way to defeat racism in corporate America and ascend that corporate ladder is to know when it's time to go. This is the most important item on this list, and there's a specific reason why I left it for last. Sometimes, everybody, the best way to defeat a sexist or racist or misogynistic or coloristic boss or company is to simply learn as much as you can, master your job description, master your craft, and leave and take your talents to a rival competitor that actually appreciates your hard work. People, some individuals, for whatever reason, will never like or respect you, and they will never like or respect your work ethic. They will criticize you and trash you at every document, every project, and every report that you do, and you will see that you will never get compensated for what you're worth, and you'll never get the credit that you deserve. Because when it boils down to it, if a person does not like you because you are different from them, it puts them in their company at a strategic disadvantage. And for what it's worth, the average person that stays at a company only gets a 3% pay raise every year, but the average person that leaves a company and goes to a competitor gets a 20% pay raise. Do the math. This channel, everybody's all about making money. It's about saving money. It's about building generational wealth, and it's about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. The link is below. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. Check out my Instagram, therealfinancipation.com. My Spotify is Financipation, just like it's spelled in that sign back there. My TikTok is Financipation, and my Facebook page is Financipation. And check out my blog as well, Financipation, where I go into a lot more detail about different types of concepts as far as building your wealth and making more money, okay? And financially emancipating yourself from poverty. And check out some of my digital, my e-products below as well. Hit that notification bell. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. It's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace.